Yo, remember back on the bully when cats used to harmonize like, check our situation. Yo, my men and my women, don't forget about the D.
They're still very, very natural. Like, most people be like, girl, I didn't know you had surgery. And I'm like, I know, that's the point. Like, it's not much. It's just giving what it needs to give. That's it. Hello, everyone. I am Halicia, but I go by Lee. And we are going to get into breast augmentation. It has now been roughly 7 months since I got my breast augmentation. And when it comes to a breast augmentation, there are multiple, I guess, surgeries. So you can either get like a reduction or you can get implants. Of course, I opted for implants. So what I did, because I was getting so many questions about kind of like my journey, is that I'm gonna give you an update. So I posted on Instagram, what were your questions? And I'm gonna go through this as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. There are quite a few questions, so hopefully this helps. If you have any additional questions that I did not cover in this video, then definitely leave them in the comments below. Or of course, you can just get on Instagram and DM me. I always reply to my DMs. Also, I will leave my entire kind of like augmentation journey linked below. So my surgery, my pre-op, my post-op, my first week after surgery, all of that I will leave linked below, so you know you can get the full scope. But we're gonna go through the questions, because girl, what was y'all thinking? Okay. I have on no lipstick. I don't have on lipstick. Why don't I have on lipstick? Hold on. First question, how long was the healing process? I would say for my actual incision, so the hole or the scar that is cut, that completely closed in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, there was no opening whatsoever. I didn't know, I mean, you can't feel it or see it anyways, but I knew for a fact that it was closed when I went back to my post-op appointment and she trimmed the threads or strings that were hanging. The hole had closed. And then after that, I pretty much did everything normal, probably like a week or two after my procedure, except for lifting weights or moving things heavily. Now that I am like, I think it's been like 7 months since I've had my breast augmentation, everything is normal. I do everything. I lift weights, I move furniture, you name it, I'm doing it. Like there are no restrictions. So I would say like in total, for like all restrictions to be lifted, I would say about 3 months. 3 months I was back working out, doing a whole 9, like, and just really like monitoring the way that I felt. But if I didn't feel like any pain or soreness, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine, keep going. Has breast sensitivity changed after your surgery? So for a period of time, it did. Maybe for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, my nipples were just like extremely sensitive, like even to the point of like rubbing up against clothing. Like, it was a lot, but not in a painful way, just, you know, they were very sensitive at the time. And now I kind of feel like it's back to normal. That only lasted for that period and then it went away, and my doctor actually explained that it has to do with the nerves kind of growing back around the area, and that's perfectly normal. But other than that, I mean, I feel like they feel pretty much the same. They might be a little bit more sensitive than they were before, because before I didn't experience any sensitivity whatsoever, but now I do get a little bit more sensitivity, especially like around my cycle. Who was your doctor and how was the healing process? Since I answered that, my doctor was Dr. Rednam. She is based here in Houston, Texas, and I will leave all of her information down below. Like anything that you need to know about her, it'll be left in the description bar. She is amazing. Like, when I tell you, my service to my surgery to my post-op appointments, everything with her, I would definitely give her 5 stars, like 10 out of 10. I would recommend. What was the pain level for the first week or so, and how did you decide on the size? So pain for me was kind of like minimal, except for the first night. The first night after surgery, Nick and I missed my pill popping appointments. And I'm gonna blame him too, okay? Because we were supposed to be in this together. Not really, but he was supposed to help me out. My first night of surgery, we were tired. We were pretty exhausted. And it took kind of like a lot for me to get into like a certain position, to really almost like get comfortable. So I fell asleep. Initially, I was supposed to take my medicine every 3 hours. I slept for 6. So when I woke up, I could feel everything that had happened. That didn't last for long because my doctor did have a 24-hour hotline, and I immediately called and I was like, girl, like, you gotta help me. They helped me. They walked me through the process. 15-20 minutes later, I was asleep. Once I woke up, I was good. So that was it. Other than that, I did not experience any pain whatsoever. There is not pain. There was pressure, you know, and tightness, because you've put a foreign object in your body and your body is trying to expand. So I don't even think I was really sore. I would just say those two things, but I don't ever remember being in pain. So 0 for the pain, but like the pressure was probably like maybe like a 7 or 8 for like the first week, and the tightness or like that kind of like soreness was maybe like a 3 or 4. It wasn't bad though at all. Like, it was not bad. And in terms of how did I decide my size, I just wanted something that fit my body. I really wanted it to look like I never had anything done. And that was what I told my doctor. I was like, I want the most natural set of girls that I can possibly get. I started off at a full A, and I told her that I wanted a C. A full C or a C. She agreed, and she ordered me like 3 different sizes of breast implants, and then when she did my surgery, she kind of decided which size in the range looked best on me, and she chose the perfect size. So I got 275 cc's, which is not a lot at all. Have they affected your workout routine, and do they limit what you can do? No. Initially, of course, they're going to affect your workout routine because there is limitations in lifting your arms up for the first like maybe like 2.5, 3 weeks. And then of course you kind of gotta, I would say after 3 months, I was just full on working out, lifting weights, whatever I want to do. But you do have to make adjustments because your body has kind of been idle for a period of time, and so you almost have to relearn or readjust. So I just started off light, like with body weight, and then after I did body weight for maybe like a week or 2, I would slowly start adding in heavier weights. And now that I'm 6-7 months in, girl, whatever I want to lift, I'm gonna lift it. Like, there are no restrictions. I just realized that my husband got in on this poll, and I'm not even gonna read to y'all what this fool wrote, but that's funny. It's actually really cute. What made you get an augmentation? Again, I was never blessed in this area. We are kind of like, I don't want to say small chested, but yes, we all are kind of like small chested, and it was one of those things that I couldn't fix with eating right or working out or lifting weights or whatever. Like, it was just one of those things that the only way for me to change it was to get surgery. So that's what I did, because there was no other options for me to alter something about myself that I didn't like or didn't love. Let me say, I liked them, but I was just kind of like and I've always felt that way. I felt that way probably since high school. If you could redo the process, would you have done anything different? No regrets. I would not have changed not one thing about the process. I do plan on maybe in like the next 7 years, because you're actually supposed to get them replaced in 10 years, but I'm thinking in maybe like 5 or 7 years, depending on where my body is at that point. I'm thinking of going a little bit bigger. But other than that, but that's like later on down the line. In terms of now, looking back, everything was absolutely perfect. I'm happy about every decision that I made, from the doctor to the payment to everything, like just everything. I'm very, very pleased. This was the best purchase that I could have made for myself. Is there any other changes felt in your body since the augmentation? No, I didn't experience anything weird. I did really stay on top of it. I do feel like my doctor and the way that she kind of structures plastic surgery definitely benefits, because it's not only informative, but even in the past like 7 months, I've been to like 6 post-op appointments. Like I've seen her a lot. So it's like anything that I notice, I'll ask her about it and she'll thoroughly explain it to me. And most of the time her answer is, oh, that's normal, it's gonna go away in a couple of days. And it does. And so I'm like, okay. So no other changes other than that. I used to sleep on my stomach, and it did take a little bit longer for me to start back sleeping on my stomach, just because this was uncomfortable laying flat on. Now it's comfortable, but for maybe like the first 4 or 5 months it was uncomfortable, so I had to learn to sleep on my back, which I actually find pretty comfortable too. So now it's like I'm good, because I can sleep however I want to sleep and be comfortable. But no other changes to my body. I do notice that like if I have too much like heavy pressure on them for like a long period of time, I'll be able to feel like almost like a sore patch, but it won't last. Like once I readjust, it'll go away in a couple of minutes. Do you still have any pain? No pain. There was never any pain. Pain was not a factor from the beginning. Zero pain. Do you have any scarring or keloids from the surgery? Yes, there is a scar. They're underneath my breasts. There are about a 2-inch scar from where the incision was made. It didn't keloid though, so there's just a darker line, but of course it's nobody can see it. Like even me, it takes a lot for me to see it. Like I literally gotta flip it backwards and be like at the weirdest angle to be able to see the scar, because she honestly placed it right into the fold, so the scar isn't really visible. And my surgery came with scar cream. Like when I paid for my surgery, it included my scar cream, so I just plan on fading that out. I know it's gonna take a while, but it's definitely a lot lighter than what it was when I initially got my surgery. What was the hardest part of the recovery process? To me, the most difficult part was sleeping, because I'm just real picky about the way that I sleep. Like my body has to be in certain positions for me to actually be able to sleep. So for me, relearning how to sleep on my back, that was just difficult. It took me maybe like literally like 3 weeks to honestly readjust. So if you sleep on your back, you're gonna be fine. But other than that, that was the only thing that was difficult. I was driving in like 2 or 3 days. Like, you know, I was up, I would cook or I would clean. I just kind of kept it light. But everything that I normally did, I did it in like 3 days. Like within like 3 days after I got my surgery. Like I think I drove to my first post-op appointment, which was like, no, I drove to my second one. My second one was like a week later. I think that people have been misconstrued into thinking that procedures like this are just so crazy or like so overwhelming, and it's really not. I think that if you go into it with this mindset, I almost feel like it's like this old school mindset, like people have told you you shouldn't do these things to your body. But I do think that once you do the research, you will realize like it's just not that big of a deal. Like it's really, really not. And I think especially if you're not going super large, then you're gonna be fine. Like no back pain, no, like nothing weird. It's just I woke up and they were here. They had arrived and I was very happy about it. I still am. The cost range and recovery time, I've already covered recovery time, but the cost in Houston, or I can just tell you what I paid. So when I did my research, The like lowest cost in Houston was around like $6,000, and this was just like Googling board certified doctors. The lowest cost that I was coming around was around $6,000. I ended up paying like in total about $7,500. So that's just me. I'm pretty sure that they go up, or that you could even get them for lower, but for what I wanted, for what was included in my surgery, $7,500 was great, because it's like once I paid that $7,500, it included all of my medicines, everything that I needed post-op, and all of my post-op appointments. So I just didn't pay any money after that, basically, and I love that idea. This is a good question. I wish I would have got to this question earlier, but the question is, how has your breathing been? Okay, I'm gonna break this down. When my first week of surgery, or like my first couple of days of surgery, I will say that breathing wasn't as fluid as it normally is. Like, it was definitely, I don't want to say difficult, because it wasn't difficult by any means, but I definitely experienced a little bit more shortness of breath than I normally do. Part of it was just the pressure, you thinking that you can't breathe, but you can, but because you feel this extra pressure in this area, you're like, okay. And then also, like, when you're moving a lot, it's like, okay, you know, you find that you're breathing heavier. But after that, breathing, after maybe about the first week, breathing returned to normal, and breathing is still normal. Like, I went on mile runs, 2-mile runs, everything, and the breathing part is phenomenal. It's just that, you know, you got to build up your stamina. So in terms of breathing, it doesn't really alter, but you do have to almost like trick your brain not to panic, essentially, because once you start panicking, that breathing is, ooh, it's gonna get tight. And I did that one day, and it was not the best. So I would just say, you know, you can breathe. Like, you can breathe. Most of it is mental, so you almost have to like psych yourself into saying like, girl, you can breathe, like, calm down, like, it's not that crucial. I had to tell myself that, like, you're fine, like, why are you tripping, calm down. And then once I calmed my body down, it was like my breathing returned to normal. What is my favorite go-to supportive bras to wear or sleep in since having your augmentation? I ordered a post-op bra from Amazon. I think I ordered 2 of them, a black one and like a nude colored one from Amazon, which were great but totally unnecessary. Like, when I say totally unnecessary, I didn't need it, and I think because I didn't go really big on my girls. So I did wear that bra for maybe like 2 weeks or so, and then I switched over to Skims, and now I pretty much only wear Skims. So I'll leave like my favorite versions of the Skims bras below, but I would say the most important thing is either get the Amazon like actual post-op bra, or just get you a good unlined, okay, like no wiring whatsoever. You want to avoid wire, unlined bra, and something that's really soft or comfortable on your skin, whether you prefer mesh or cotton or like that little stretchy kind of bandage fabric, whatever it is. Just get you something that's really comfortable and that is unlined, like no wire, wireless bra. And you also, what I realized is that wearing bras with like a thicker strap at the bottom so that nothing rubs underneath the breast is phenomenal, because you don't want anything with like a thin strap, you know, like those triangle bras. Terrible, because that little thin strap, it will rub up against that incision, and that's not a vibe. So you just don't want anything rubbing up against the actual incision, and you should be good. So I wore a lot of Calvin Klein sports bras, you know, the ones that say Calvin Klein across the bottom, that are typically sold at like your Marshalls, your Ross, all of like your little like discount stores essentially, and Skims bras. And I particularly enjoyed her mesh scoop neck bras, but I'll leave all of the ones that I enjoy linked below. Lifespan of the silicone is roughly 10 years. You can go longer though, okay? So I don't want you to think like 10 years you gotta take them out. There are people that keep them in for longer, but that's like the safe range that they recommend. Almost like with your makeup. You know how your makeup says that it expires in 12 months or 24 months, but you still be using it 5 years later? I mean, you can keep them. Like, I know a lot of people that have had theirs for 15 years, so forth, but they do recommend that you switch them out every 10 years. Scarring and discoloration. Okay, scarring is a great one, because I know that some people actually experience scarring around the breast and not just where the incision is, or like discoloration in this area. I did not experience that from the stretching of skin, because I use a shea butter mixture, and I'll actually get it for you guys so I can show you. All right, so here is what I use every single day on my breasts. I don't use it every day now, but I do still use it, and this is by Ancient Cosmetics. But I mean, you can get like any product that's similar to this, but this one is their Even Skin Hyperpigmentation Body Butter. It only has 4 ingredients in it. You could probably even make it yourself. It has shea butter, coconut oil, turmeric oil, and lemon oil. It looks like this is literally just a jar of whipped shea butter, and mine is almost gone. Probably need to, it smells so good. I probably need to get another one of these, but I would literally just take a little bit of this and like oil them up so that I didn't get like any stretch marks. It also keeps them very moisturized. And then in terms of, for the scarring, this scar cream kind of came in my whole little setup for my augmentation, and I'll leave that video kind of like explaining this and how much it costs and all of that down below. But this is from Skanuva, and this is their scar cream that I use on my scars every day. I just use 1 pump and it covers both scars, and this will help fade your scars. So these are really kind of like the only 2 topical products that I use to prevent discoloration, scarring, all of that. And then the very last question, I think it's such a good question, is, was this choice something that you manifested over a long period of time? Yes and no. So this was something that I kind of like tested the waters with. Like, I would tell people that I wanted to get them done. I've been telling people I wanted to get them done for like 10 years. And I was just kind of monitoring people's reactions, because I think at the time I was so like impressionable, so concerned about how other people would view me, because I knew the stigma around plastic surgery, right? But I think that 2020 really helped kind of bring me back in and draw me into a season like, look, you got to do what's best for yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to worry about yourself. Like, you really, really have to focus on building the best you. Whatever that may be, inward and outward, I think, personally. And I think that I had kind of got to a point where I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what other people think. Like, it is what it is. If you love me less, then it sucks for you. That was really the mindset that I was in, and I'm still kind of in that mindset. So I will say that I truly manifested it in 2020 once I started doing research. Like, that was really the key. Like, I wanted to know everything there was to know about breast augmentation, because I wanted to be fully educated before going into something. So I started doing research. I watched YouTube videos of other people's vlogs. I Googled quite a bit of information. I also actually watched full-on surgeries, which is not the prettiest sight, but I wanted to see, like, if I lay down on this table, what is going to be done to me? I wanted to know, because of course I would be asleep. So I wanted to be very well aware of the process. Once I started watching videos and doing research, I would say everything just kind of like fell into place. And I think it's because my mind was so focused. And I told myself, I said, the very moment that you get the money, you're gonna get it done. This is the conversation that I had with myself. I was like, the very moment. And I was like, you're not gonna worry about anything else. At that moment, if you have the money in your account, you are going to go buy you some boobs. And that's what I did. When the money hit, I booked an appointment. And I ended up, my appointment, like, from booking the appointment, I think my appointment was like a week later. I I didn't tell anybody about this. Like, I did not have this discussion with not one single person, not even my husband. I did not have this discussion with him. I went to my appointment, which was like a consultation basically. I recorded a little bit of it, but like, you know, I just kind of went in like with the anticipation, not of actually booking my surgery, but kind of like to see which doctors I would actually like. I ended up falling in love with my doctor, Dr. Rednam, and her team, and that day I paid half of my surgery. I was just like, yep, I'm doing it. And that day we scheduled an appointment. And they even called me back maybe like a week later, and they was like, hey, we have an earlier date for your surgery. Would you like this date instead? Because, you know, once we met you, you seem very like adamant, very like this is happening. So do you want to move your date? I ended up telling them no, it just didn't work for my schedule. But I didn't consult anyone else, and I think that's kind of like the best part of the journey is I did it, and I did it solely for myself. And I guess you can say I kind of slowly manifested it, but that manifestation didn't really come into play until I actually started visualizing myself with them, visualizing what my surgery would be like, visualizing me going back into the doctor, and then actually like taking active steps. So, you know, manifestation doesn't really work unless you do the work too. Like, you know, it has to be whatever you focus on, but you actually have to be implementing it. And I did that, and boom, and now we're here 7 months later, and I'm still happy, and I would do it again. So I hope that this answers all of your questions. I'm trying to make sure that I didn't miss any, because a lot of them are repetitive, which is great because, you know, a lot of people feel the same way or have the same questions. Every time I scroll through that comment from my husband, like, bruh. I have on a shirt too, by the way. It's from House of CB. So what you're seeing right now is the girls sitting at their highest and perkiest point, because this is like a little corset bustier situation. That's it, guys. Like that's it. Hopefully this helps. Definitely let me know if you have any additional questions. I'd be happy to answer them. And of course, check out the description bar below for the products like this, the bras, and all of the other videos that I've done associated with this. Because if you haven't seen my surgery vlog, then I think that would be extremely helpful. And also my consultation, my pre-op appointment, and my post-op vlog. So all of those things, leave a link below. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I definitely hope that this was super informative. That's what I'm here for. I'm definitely happy to share. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. It's just giving what it needs to give, girl. I will fight you.